So of course, when I was younger, I used to ask my daddy why everybody else had a mama and I didn't have one. And he would say my mama didn't like it in the States, so she left us. And that's just what it's been my whole life. I pulled out my phone and I typed in how to find a parent in Korea, and the first thing came up was go to the police station. He said, now if she's deceased or she does not want to talk to you, then we will not contact you. But if she wants to talk to you, we'll contact you and we'll exchange the contact information at that point. Okay, so I guess this might be called a story time. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but basically, just to let y'all know what happened. My daddy was black, my mom's Korean. My daddy was in the military, got stationed in Korea, met my mama, married her, her family cut her off, and he got stationed back in the States. They got pregnant with me. She had me. He got stationed back in Korea. So we all went. And when it was time for him to come back to the States, or us to come back to the States, he told her that he was going to bring me and get me settled in. And in 2 weeks, he would send her a plane ticket. And he never sent her the plane ticket. And when he left with me, he ended up taking a passport so she couldn't come back. So of course, when I was younger, I used to ask my daddy why everybody else had a mama and I didn't have one. And he would say my mama didn't like it in the States, so she left us. And that's just what it's been my whole life. My daddy passed away about 3 years ago. And after he died, I found a copy of him and my mom's marriage license. And it had her name, her birthday, her parents' names, and their address. In May of 2024, I was supposed to go to Bali with my homegirl, but God was like, "Nah, you gotta reroute this trip and go to Korea, and you need to go now." So I listened and I changed the trip. I ended up going to Korea by myself in May of last year. It just so happened to be Mother's Day weekend. It was not planned like that at all. And I really went with no plan. I knew no Koreans. I spoke no Korean. I ain't know shit about what I was doing. I had no plan. One particular day, I was in this neighborhood and wandering around this little city or big city. I pulled out my phone and I typed in how to find a parent in Korea, and the first thing came up was go to the police station. They told me that I had to take the information that I had to the Seoul police station. And so I got back on the train, went to Seoul. They were closed because it was Buddha's birthday. And so they told me I had to come back next morning, which I did. There was a man and a woman there. And I could tell the woman wanted to help me, but the man was kind of like, seemed like he was like second guessing it. So that's when, if you saw the video, she said, we can only help you if you're lost or adopted. And so I wasn't adopted. So I told her, well, I guess technically I'm lost. And she told me that in Korea, um, the Koreans have the option of registering their DNA every 10 years, in the event somebody comes looking for them, and that people could do a DNA test. If there was a match, they would let the person know that somebody was looking for them. So I said, okay, well, cool. I'm willing to do that. I'm here. Might as well. And I said, where can I go to get that done? And they actually do it in the police station. So she was like, oh, you don't have to leave. She said, I will call somebody down. And this guy came to get me. He took me to this office. He knew just enough English for to show me how to fill out the consent form, and I did. He took the swab, and at the end, he told me that it would take 60 days for me to get the results. And I said, well, I'm not gonna be here 60 days. And he said, when do you leave? And I lied and I said tomorrow. Then I was in reality, I was supposed to leave like 3 days later. And so he said, oh, I'm sorry, it'll be 60 days. He said, now if she's deceased or she does not want to talk to you, then we will not contact you. But if she wants to talk to you, we'll contact you and we'll exchange the contact information at that point. So I said, okay, cool. So I talked to my cousin and we decided to just dip out of Korea and spend the rest of my vacation time in the Philippines, in Cebu. We flew out at 8 o'clock that night, and it was like a 4 hour flight. When we landed in the Philippines, I turned my phone back on, and I was filling out the stuff for the immigration people. And it said, okay, well, check your email for a confirmation code. And when I went to check my email, that's when I saw the message from the Korean police department saying, hey, we found your mom. She wants to talk to you. Here's her phone number.
What happened in 60 days? That was crazy. The next day or 2 days? That's crazy. That's awesome. That's a fast turnaround. I like that.
I ended up calling her at like 1:30 in the morning, and we had our first conversation. It was a little emotional, and I told her I can come back on Sunday. And she said, okay. I called my job and I told them that I wasn't going to be able to come back. I told them, I said, hey, I know you don't know why I came to Korea, but this is why. I ended up finding her and I need to extend my trip. And I understand if you need to fire me, it just is what it is. I have to figure it out when I get back, but I got to handle this while I'm here. And the company was like, oh no, you're good. Like, we've been slow anyway. We've been sending people home. So you can stay for a week. It's fine. My cousin and I flew back on Sunday. She ended up meeting us at the train station. We went back to her house and she basically explained how my daddy basically took me away and took her passport. And I know she wasn't lying because to this day, she doesn't know how much information that I actually know. His sister actually told me the same thing, but didn't give as much details, but they had the same exact timeline. She never had more kids. He never had more kids. So here I am, the only child from that situation. She did tell me when I was there in May that she had brothers, but she said I couldn't meet them during that time. And I thought I couldn't meet them because they did not approve of my parents' marriage. And so, therefore, it might have trickled down to me some way, somehow. But the reality is, she actually held that secret for 40 years from her siblings. And we actually got to meet them back in December when I took the kids back um, to Korea. So they were very, very welcoming. Everybody was super nice to us. Like, it was just really a moment that I never thought that I would ever experience in my life. And so, present day, we do still keep in contact. She talks to one of my kids every day, but now it's just more so of the language barrier that's the biggest issue. But I got my mama. So later this year, I'll be 42, and it's significant because this year will make exactly 40 years since my mama spent a birthday with me. And so I'm going to go spend that time with her and keep making memories.
First of all, shout out to this sister because the fortitude, you know, the way she just believed in the process and you know what I'm saying, and she made it all shake out. That's great. I gotta commend her on that. I'm not built like that. But man, we gotta address her daddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was that was so diabolical. That was so disgusting that that man would do that to her and deprive her of growing up with a mother. And this is why I get so upset when men run around and talk about how women be holding their kids away from the men and da 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 da. And it's like I've never seen. I just never seen women do that. But I've seen men do stuff like this before. I've seen men kidnap babies, like take their like just so they won't have to pay child support, just to spite the woman because she wasn't gonna let him abuse her anymore. Like I've seen men attempt to do this or actually do this, but I really have never seen a woman do this. Like I just haven't seen it. I'm saying, and this is extreme, but just anything even like this. But her father took her from her mother, took her from her mom, uh, and then sold her a lie for her whole life that she had to sort out after that dude died. And I'm sure that it's a lot of emotions going on with her. Like she must be conflicted because her dad took care of her this whole time, right? But I mean, he's evil. You know what I'm saying? Like he's evil. That was evil. He's evil. I'm sorry, he's evil. But he took care of her. And you can't take away, those feelings that she has. But me looking at it as an observer, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit's terrible what he did. Like I can't, that's it is unforgivable in my book. Um, because why? Why did you take her? Why did you take her away from her mother? Her mama didn't do shit to you. Her mama didn't abuse you. Her mama wasn't abusing that baby. You just didn't want to have to deal with the mom. You didn't want to have to pay. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like you knocked her up and you wanted to walk away from her and come back to America and live a single life. It's like this is like right below like killing a woman, right? This is right below that, right below femicide to me. Same thought, you know what I mean? Like he would have definitely unalived her if they were in America. If they were in the States, he would have just unalived her, you know. But he did it this way. It was cleaner this way. Took her passport. She couldn't get no money from him. She don't have the kid. She couldn't come to America. You know what I mean? Like, all right, yeah, he got away clean, clean crime, clean getaway. This was very sad. And then when you see, watch, I'm gonna show you. And then when you see this, it just makes it even worse. Got to turn it down. We don't want to get that copyright infringement from Mariah. Making t-shirts with her mom. That's her daughter. Hugs her, and then and then the stain on the back. That's dope. That's dope. And you can just see like the connection. You can see how genuine she is. How genuine Granny is. We're trying to avoid all copyright infringements. I'm sorry, I can't play this music, but y'all get the gist though. Look at Granny in the middle right there. Having fun.
Pull up. Play.
Look at her. She just fit right in. She just fit right in. You know what I'm saying? Like she just seems like a sweetheart. And she had all of that robbed from her. She had no access to her child. Her child didn't have access to her. All because of some man. All because some man was just trying to live, you know, he just didn't want to be with her anymore and discarded her. Unbeknownst to the mother though. It wasn't, he had a plan in action. You know what I'm saying? He set that plan in motion. That wasn't something he did on a whim. He planned that out. He was like, when I'm over here in Korea, I'm going to serve my time. You know, I'm going to act like everything's cool. But yeah, as soon as I can, I'm gonna get her up out of here. I believe though that the reason why he did it is because he knew he wasn't gonna be able to keep that woman. I think he knew that she would have eventually left him because of the type of person he was, and he just wanted to avoid that being the case. But there's no words. I have no words to describe what he did to her. That was terrible. That was just pure evilness at its core.